Alright, yeah, guys, so we're at the episode 4 Arena. So now we're gonna start Mitsuru's part of the story, bro.
Welcome to the Velvet Room. This place
Let's do this shit.
I wish you good luck.
Come on, let's do this shit. In late November in the year 2010, the darkness fell without warning. At the same time, the previously busy examination room fell so silent that the man's ears hurt.
What happened?
He called toward the back of the room, but no answer came. After working for public safety for over a decade, he thought little could faze him anymore. But this was uncomfortably alien. It was no ordinary blackout. If it were, the faint light whiff from machines running on battery power, such as cell phones will remain. But the silence disturbed him even more. He hadn't heard so much as a single cry. When he looked around, he saw one spot in the darkness where something was giving off an eerie glow, as if painted in incandescent pigments. Oh yeah, the dark hour, bruh. Once his eyes began to adjust to the darkness, he was faintly able to make out the area around that light. Shining spot was revealed as a small, strangely decorated box that the man had only just delivered to the forensics unit.
Forensics team! The hell is...
He called out, still squinting at the shadow of a person he could see at a window before him. But as the shape resolved, he saw it was not a person's shadow at all. He had no words to describe it. At first glance, it seemed to be a coffin. Indeed, that was what it was shaped like. But he had never seen a coffin standing upright, tall as an adult, shining like a dark crystal. Yet, that was clearly what the crystalline mass was, squatting in the spot where the window dirk normally stood. And upon closer examination, it wasn't the only one. At desk in the front of the evidence shelf, to a reference computer that objects towered everywhere as if they had taken the place of humans.
What are these?
A chill ran down the man's spine. They're people, was the thought that instinctively came to mind. Was this the reason he couldn't hear anyone else's voice? Was it because everyone's but him was?
What's going on?
Once the fear had set in, it wasn't easy to shake off. His familiar office was starting to look like a grotesque netherworld. He felt quite sure that he had to get out. Quickly, he turned and grabbed the knob of the door through which he just entered, but
What the...
locked. It didn't budge. It wasn't the door that was locked, preventing the knob from turning the latch. The knob was completely frozen in place.
Is anyone here? Hey! Let me out!
The man slammed his fist against the door, yelling in description. Wait, if this is November 2010, then how the hell did the Dark Hour came back, bro? How the hell, bro? Since in Persona 3, you finally when you defeat Nyx, you finally get rid of the Dark Hour for good, bro. So yeah. So how in the hell did it came back? Man slams fist against the door, yelling in desperation. But the sensation he felt was, when he first impacted the surface, wasn't that of hitting a door. It felt completely at odds. what, what he saw as if a picture of the door had been drawn onto a solid wall. It was then the man noticed another light, similar in color to the emanating from the box, could completely seen on part of his hand as he swung it forward. It was a ring, and suddenly he remembered. When he bought into the small box, he found several bizarre ring-shaped objects within it. While handing it over to the forensics, he suspected that they might be rings to check the theory he put one on. And now the ring was emitting the same eerie light as the box, though he still had no idea what's going on. It was immediately apparent that it was directly related to the current situation. Man grabbed the ring with sweat-slicked fingers and tugged, ready to pull off his own figure if necessary. But it's just at the
I
moment.
wouldn't take that off right now.
What?
Oh, Mitsuru. The man couldn't help but gasp. He looked around, but he couldn't sense no one inside the room with him. Where had that voice came
I'll
from?
be there to rescue you shortly. Calm yourself and wait there.
When the man calmed himself, he realized that it wasn't a voice. The sensation was indescribable, but it was distantly unlike hearing with one's ears.
Who's there?
Oh, pardon me. This is Mitsuru Kirijo. We met earlier.
Kirijo. He didn't know a Kirijo. It was she who brought the strange small box, and that wasn't all he knew. The Kirijos were a wicked family who used their fortune and influence as a shield, tuned to frustrate the police. Despite that, the man couldn't help but feel relief wash over him. Perhaps he might survive this after all.
Oh, well, I appreciate the help. Just hurry.
After getting the murdered words out, he sank to the floor. The door at his back. Mitsuru Kirijo, if he recalled correctly, she was the eldest daughter of the Kirijo group's family. He noted that her voice had been far calmer than this, despite the situation they were both in. He sensed a measure of trustworthiness from her. And to think it has been merely an hour ago that he was asking himself why such a young girl had been chosen as the head of the Kirijo group at all. The digital clock on the corner of the desk quietly announced that the arrival at 10 o'clock in the morning. Normally most of the staff would be out and about by now, but the entire police department was in a turmoil today. It was only to be expected, with the key figure from the Kirijo group visiting on unusual business.
Kirijo, huh?
The Kirijo group was a major trading firm, synonymous with Japan. They had links to all areas of business. Not a day could go by in the city without hearing their name. The clock that had struck 10 bore the logo of Kirijo Electronics, and KJ was the carrier for the cell phone provided to every member of the force. A few days ago, I sensed Kirijo Group had made a seemingly insane proposal. The document was hundreds of pages, but a brief summary would read, we wish to collaborate with the police on an unofficial department for eliminating monsters.
Well, it does happen from time to time. Famous businessmen end up advocating cultish nonsense in pursuit of their ambitions.
Upon consideration, it was decided that the creature group should be invited in to give their pitch. Of course, there was no intention of spending tax money on the outlandish proposal. The police interest in humoring the creature group lay elsewhere. The creature group had offered an incentive whereby if the police agreed to the meeting, they would provide a detailed list of the agronomics research lab artifacts as well as the actual samples. It was this that drove the officials' decision. For their land, the dark rumors banded about the creature group over the last 10 years. While still a family-run business, some say that old man Koetsu Kirijo had delved into paranormal research and was performing inhumane experiments. The police collected enough evidence to test the rumor that had prepared many times to force an investigation. But every time the investigation came to nothing due to the group exerting hidden pressure, frustrating those working on the case to no end. This investigation's prime target was the infamous Ergo Research, the Kirijo Agronomics Research Lab. Exposing the Kirijo Group's dark side had been a dream of public safeties for 10 years now. Now Kirijo seemed willing to hand over Ergo Research's tightly guarded secrets on a silver platter. No one knew the reason for this sudden about face, but neither did anyone think of turning them down. They agreed to the summit not to hear out whatever proposal Kirijo was offering, but as a stepping stone towards unearthing their past crimes. Time passed, and the agreed upon time in the afternoon came. The man who was tasked with watching over and bringing in the artifacts for the creature group, though he would not speak with the guests. The police plan afforded him a major responsibility that gave him something like a leading role. It wasn't long before the Kirijo car arrived in the underground porter coach, or whatever that was. The staff there to receive the guests only shrugged at a long black limousine that would have turned heads on the main roads. One of the youngest recruits looked towards the man and asked for a question.
What's with that car?
But that was the least of the surprises in store. When the Kirijo Group representative stepped out the limousine, she was shown to be a beautiful young woman, no older than a university student. Not only that, but she had attendants dressed in what can only be described as maid uniforms. All of them were young women roughly her age. The scene memorized the various dignitaries present to greet her.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. I am Mitsuru Kirijo, representing the Kirijo Group. It's nice to meet you.
Her brisk greeting radiated poise. From there, she shook hands with the assembled dignitaries in a manner that showed she was no stranger to social gatherings.
She's the company rep. Really?
A young recruit who was sneaking looks out in the corner for his eye, muttered in spite of himself.
The proposal said the rep who's coming today would be the leader of this new unit, but I thought it was supposed to be some hardcore armed response team, and she's leading it? Well, I guess it's better than some meathead.
Shut up and hold your position.
But in truth, the man felt the same way. Certainly, this monster extermination unit would never be incorporated. But even if it were, he was sure this wisp of a girl could never do such work. Eventually, the dignitaries entered the agency along with Miss Carrillo. All of them were lopsided smiles. All of them wore lopsided smiles due to the young beauty's unexpected appearance. But that would do for now. The dignitaries were only there to receive her. Their true objective was loaded in the truck parked behind the limousine. The documents and artifacts of Urgel research.
Alright, start bringing them in.
Roger, sir.
At the man's signal, his trained subalterns surrounded the Carrillo truck. They formed a line, smoothly passing boxes from man to man into the building. The articles wore the various sizes, with even a few that came in oversized metallic containers for aerial transport. The Carrillo group had warned them not to handle these things carelessly until explanations were forthcoming. When in truth, the department was already prepared to begin a forensic investigation of the objects, or even send them to the lab.
Are you sure it's okay for us to open these? The instructions said not to.
It won't be a real investigation if we let them hamstring our procedures. Besides, I can't think of anything they could send us that we couldn't handle. Unless there's real monsters inside these things.
The articles were brought in silence. The operation only lasted about 15 minutes. The man himself received the last item, about the size of a jewelry box, and checked the truck to make sure nothing went overlooked before closing it up. That done, he turned and walked quickly towards the forensics room. Tried thought he might to maintain the composure he couldn't contain the excitement he felt. For 10 years, the darkness of the Carrillo group had been a frustrating legend, the mist between the department's fingers. The chance to investigate and expose them was here at last. If even the slightest evidence matched the DNA of those who had gone missing or the victims of the unsolved cases, victory would be theirs. The man tried to tamp down his exhilaration and took another look at the small box he had. There was no upper lid on the box. A pestle-like protrusion at the center held a number of small circular trinkets, but their usage was completely unknown. What kind of research produced these? Just as the man was about to hand the box to the window clerk, he saw a wedding ring, the clerk's fingers, and came to realization.
Are these rings?
We're not sure yet.
The man put some protective latex gloves and tried one of the objections on. After looking at it from every angle, its color and shape seemed to be nothing but ordinary. If it was meant to be jewelry, it wasn't very attractive. The man could picture scientists in lab coats slaving away in a lab creating rings like this. The moment that unlikely possibility came to mind, the man felt somewhat embarrassed by his ignorance of fashion and accessories. But as soon as he reached for the small box to put the ring back inside, darkness suddenly fell.
Please
Door.
step away from the door.
The voice echoing in the man's mind brought him back to reality. He took a few steps from the door as directed and stood ready. Oh, so that whole interaction was in this dude's imagination. Stepped away from the door. The more he thought about it, the stranger the order seemed. How did she know he was so close to the door when she wasn't even in the room? Suddenly a chill filled the area. In mere seconds, the entire door was coated in white.
Where'd this ice come from?
It had frosted over her. That man couldn't believe his eyes, but the evidence was there in front of him. He could then hear a slight knocking sound, following a crack formed in the center. The door buckled under its own weight and crumbled with a sound that was like building blocks being pushed over. Standing just past it was the Korean woman, Oh Mitsuru. She walked over to the man with exquisite nonchalance. At her side was one of the maids she bought.
Are you alright?
Yeah.
We did give you fair warning, but it seems to have gone unheeded.
The man looked towards the ring shining on his finger.
And this happened because we touched that box? What is this thing?
That ring gives its bearer an unstable form of pseudo-potential and allows anyone to experience the Dark Hour.
The Dark Hour?
Makes me question, how in the hell did the Dark Hour get returned if we took down Nyx in order to end the Dark Hour in Persona 3, bro? Like, it just doesn't make sense, bro.
The box itself seems to be a failed recreation of the Dark Hour. The effect radius is small, and it malfunctions when improperly handled.
Oh, the ring itself, bro. Dark Hour, he remembered that phrase coming up in the documents the Korean group had sent. If you recall correctly, he was defined as a hidden time, able to be experienced by normal people where everything stood still. According to documents, it seems to have occurred every night at midnight for about 10 years until spring 2011, as if forcing its way into normal time. Till now, it seems pure fantasy. But could this be silent darkness? Be the very same thing?
So you're saying those stories in that document, that occult sounding stuff was actually for real?
At that moment, a voice suddenly echoed from beyond the hallway past the broken door.
Who's there?
Akiko? The man reflectively called out the alarm in the alarm, realizing that the fear had not yet died down. What emerged from the darkness was a young recruit who had greeted the guests earlier and had been helping with bringing in the artifacts. Oh, it's just... The young man was staggering as if severely drunk.
Chief,
Oh, it's one of the young workers. So,
are you alright?
the man being to rush to his side, but the Korean woman silently stopped him. She stood between the two and as if protecting the man.
What? He's my...
Before he could finish, a surprising change overtook the recruit. Oh, he's turning into a fucking coffin, bro. Watch. Black toilet substance began flowing through it.
What?
He was spread unnaturally across the ground and cohered into the glob and rose up to like a beast raising his head or raising his head or whatever. What looked like claws began to form. Its appearance showed clear signs that it possessed some malevolent to it. Oh shit, a shadow, bro. The man thought again about the creature group's initial proposal. We wish to collaborate with the police on an unofficial department for eliminating monsters. Without doubt, this was what they referred to. The name that came up again and again was.
This is a shadow.
That it is.
Yup.
It's a monster that dwells in every person's heart. They usually can't manifest themselves this way, but it's quite common to see it happen during the dark hour.
So the research to make this happen artificially. That's what Kirijo has been experimenting with.
That did seem to be the extent of it. At the start.
Start. The man couldn't prevent himself from shuddering to imagine the implications of her statement. My second roar, half liquefied shadow, suddenly took the form of some fell beast. But where the face should have been was nothing but a mask, giving it a bizarre appearance of two creatures stitched together. The young woman, for her part, seemed not in the least particular.
Kikuno, my themes, please.
The maid stopped to reach Stein, or stooped to reach Stein. The man wasn't sure if she was being carried it, and she had been carrying it, but she placed a sword in her master's hand. The blade was especially sharp, similar to the sign of a fencing saber.
You're going to fight it?
Of course, she has experience with fighting shadows.
Stay back. This will all be over soon.
That moment, as if understanding their conversation, the shadow squared itself and leaped towards the young woman. Its speed matches its beastly appearance. In the darkness of the room, the man found it difficult simply keeping his eye on it. The young woman did not move. Her sword remained lowered in the face of the shadow's advance. Of course, so the man, an amateur like her could never reach in time. However,
Artemisia!
at a word from the young woman, some unseen force slammed the shadow against the wall. The man momentarily doubted his own eyes. For it had been the woman who repelled the monster, but the silhouette that suddenly appeared behind her. It looked like as though the being enveloped in sublime light, contrasting the shadow's dark glow. Was the woman wearing a majestic dress? The silhouette holding up the hand towards the crouching shadow. Once again, the man felt freezing air and filled the room. With that, the shadow stopped moving. Frost crystallized all over it, turning into ice sculpture within seconds. Only then did the young woman swing the sword in her hand for the first time. The right gleam aced through the air. Upon impact, the first enemy shattered and has been crystallized sugar rather than ice. Victory was so one-sided, the man hesitated to call it a battle.
Are you all right?
The young woman turned towards the man. It's not like her boots were on the floor, giving him a jarring realization that she hasn't moved a single step during the fray. Seeing that he was at a lost for words, she gave him a gentle smile. It was all too much for the man. He actually felt relieved to be protected by a small woman. One thing was obvious. She had been through countless battles, so much like the one he just
Your
witnessed.
fallen employee's life is in no danger, but he'll be very weak. Make sure he gets to a hospital. Should I make the arrangements?
No, I should at least handle that. It is a public security matter.
With a nod, the young woman approached the small box and manipulated it in a way he couldn't quite catch. The eerie yellow-green light began to fade. Moments later, the silence and darkness faded. The, the world had been restored. The man felt his body became suddenly lighter, causing him to breathe a sigh of relief. He hadn't realized until the pressure was gone that the air had been as suffocating as if he had been underwater. There was a stir of moment in the room. The forensics team and assistants looked at the man and young woman perplexed. The man took a quick look around. Fragments of the shattered door were stirring about. A young public safety worker was lying unconsciously nearby, and their crucial guests, who had entered without anyone noticing, held her hand a drawn sword.
I'd be shocked too if I were them.
It occurred to him that if normal people couldn't sense the dark hour, the sudden change in circumstances may have seemed to them like some magic trick.
Excuse me, but this place is off limits to all unauthorized personnel. Hey, what's going on here?
Forensic staff looked at the man helplessly.
It's alright. We had a little emergency.
Oh.
That aside, halt all examination of the relics they brought in. We'll wait for further instructions from the Kirijo group.
Huh? But you said...
If there are any boxes that are closed, don't force them open. Not if you don't want to come face to face with monsters.
Leaving the fine forensics team behind him, the man quickly went into the hallway with the
I
crucial
have to
woman.
thank you for your help. And about the conference, I'll join in as well. It's been arranged so nothing you say would get through to the higher-ups.
Young woman, if the young woman was surprised at what amounted to the confession of betrayal, she didn't show it.
Are you saying you will reconsider your plans?
I can't overlook anything as serious as this. I wouldn't be doing my job as public security if I did. But make no mistake, the things I saw today are proof of the sins the Kirijo group has committed. They can't be punished under the law, but now that they're known, atonement will be made in some shape or form.
Indeed. I never intended anything less.
You really put one over on us this time.
Hmm?
Well, there's no need to be coy. What happened today was no accident, was it? We'd never have believed the reports unless we saw it in person. That's why such a dangerous box had no lid. Am I wrong?
There was no lid. That's not possible. That box was classified as risk level 3. It should have been securely fastened.
Young woman fell silent, then gasped, and gave the maid walking silently beside her a look.
Kikuno.
The maid continued without a slight sign of remorse and left her master behind. Both the man and the young woman sighed at once.
Us guys in public security have a reputation for being tough. But it seems like you guys are no slouches yourselves.
Something that was meant to be a functionatory refusal took an unexpected turn. Promises were made to continue the talks. 6 months had passed. After many opportunities to show the actual samples to the dignitaries were set up, the proposed special unit was established, mostly for the form Crucial expected. Security Department Shao Response Unit as the inauguration of the special unit that would in time be nicknamed the Shao Operatives. Okay, so yeah, that would be it, bruh, for today's video, yeah, guys. So I'll see you guys next time. Varnish TV, sign off.